Jason. It's my job to stump. Hey everybody, it's Carrie Hoffmeister with Carrie on Abundant TV, and today I am super excited to have on actor Matt Drago on the show today. Matt, thanks so much for chatting with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Carrie. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, and I think I read, are you also a singer?
I am also a singer. Yep. I did
Okay.
a little bit of the Broadway kind of, hanging out at Actors Equity and hitting my 16 bars and then going to the bar to serve tables. So yes, I definitely have done the Broadway route as well.
You totally give me Broadway vibes, actually. I could totally see that. That's awesome.
They're
What
my
sh
people. I love theater people. I was up for Frankie and Jersey Boys. I was up for Princeton and Avenue Q. I was up for Fiero and Wicked. A lot of friends that I know on Broadway, and just studied with all the same people. It's a very, very close-knit community in theater in New York City. I think it's just because of proximity. You're so close to everybody. But
Yeah,
definitely something that I would love to get back into, hopefully very soon in the future.
that is so fun. Awesome. Okay. Well, everybody that is watching the show knows that we start off with what we call Carry on the Truth. So I'm going to give you some true or false statements, and you are going to tell me if it's true or false. So you got a 50-50 shot.
That's a good shot for
All
me.
right. Yes, sir. Okay. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. The Statue of Liberty is the world's tallest monument.
Ooh, God, I should know that being a New Yorker. That seems like a trick question, but I don't know. It's really big because I've been there many times.
It is
And
really
again,
big.
I'm giving you backstory because I'm really thinking about other monuments that are out there. And I've traveled. I just don't know what's considered a monument. You know what I mean? Like, is the Eiffel Tower considered a monument? It's sort of monumental. I don't know. I'm
I
gonna
honestly
say
don't know if it is, but
I really don't know. I know that there are taller structures out there that look like monuments. So I'm gonna say no, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's yes.
so is your answer false?
My answer's false.
You're right.
Really?
It
Oh,
is
thank God.
false.
Okay, good. That made me feel better.
So the world's tallest monument is the State of Unity, which is in India.
Wow. Okay, no, I
Yeah,
would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't either. I actually didn't know. I thought the Statue of Liberty was, so.
That was a good one for me because I was like, oh my gosh, if I get this wrong, like, can I even consider myself a New Yorker anymore?
Well, now you probably know even more than all of the New Yorkers because I bet you no one knew that.
That's awesome.
Okay, the next one. A cheetah is the fastest animal on the planet.
Ooh, they're fast. They've got four legs. I've seen them run. Again, I'm doing the same thing. Don't you love having actors on your podcast? Like, we have to overthink
So
everything.
they have been my favorite, actually. Like,
Okay, good. Okay.
seriously, it's been like my favorite episodes ever is having actors on because I feel like we just vibe and they're just
Yeah,
so like full of personality and it's great. So I love
for
it.
sure. Wow. Gosh, this is a 50-50. I've got a shot. So I'm gonna say, thinking about some other fast animals out there, but I'm gonna say true.
So it is kind of a trick question. It's
Yeah.
false.
Okay.
They are the fastest land animal.
I knew there was something about them being the fastest
Yes.
something. Okay. Right. But
But the fastest animal ever is the
see.
peregrine falcon. So it's a bird.
Oh,
Yeah, and they go
yeah.
at 242 miles per hour.
Okay. That
Yeah.
does make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're kind
No.
of right because they're the
Okay.
fastest land animal. They're just not the fastest animal on the planet.
So I get like a half point for
You
that
get,
one.
yeah, you sound exactly like Jonathan Stoddard. He said the same thing about
That's why
one.
Jonathan and I are friends because we kind of have the same like this is what we do together, by the way. This is exactly the same types of conversations. This is so great.
Oh, it's so good. Okay. Next time I need to have you both on the show.
Oh, that'll be a complete and utter mess. But yes, I would love that.
It would turn into a reality show, I think.
100%. 100 and I know that we'd both be game for it too.
Oh, yes, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Sloths take 2 weeks to digest food.
Yeah, I'm gonna say true to that.
It is true. They have the slowest digestion of any mammal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They live a good life too because they're just always so relaxed. It's like, can you imagine like having a cheeseburger and just like letting that like just be your food for like 2 weeks and like going into a nap for like 3 days? Like, I don't even know, but like it doesn't seem like that bad of a life to be a
It
sloth.
doesn't at all, actually. It sounds
Yeah,
really pretty fantastic.
it really does.
Yeah, I would go for it.
Yeah.
Next one. Grilled cheese is the most popular sandwich in the United States.
Hmm. Is a hamburger considered a sandwich? See, this is another one that I'm like actor brain. I know. See, this is what you did
That's a
this to
good
yourself,
question.
Carrie. I know, right, right. Like,
I don't know
um,
if it is. I'm gonna
wow.
say a hamburger. Wait, though. Well, if you think of all the menus,
Yeah,
they're never really under the sandwich options, aren't they?
I
Just under
know.
like burgers.
Burgers. Okay,
So
so
we'll
like
say no.
if we're gonna operate like burgers are not a sandwich, then I am going to say true because they're really easy to make.
It is true.
Okay.
Bonus points if you know what people usually pair it with.
Tomato soup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
of course.
job.
Tomato soup. Of course. Of
It's the
course.
best. Do you like it?
Abs oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. And
okay,
you can
good.
make it with any type of cheese, any type of bread. I mean, I got the Italian
So
side, the
good.
French side, so it's like completely different, but it's still a perfect pairing. I mean, it's bread, cheese, and tomato soup. Come on.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Unless you burn
Nothing.
it.
That's true, and
But
I
I
have done
have.
that
I
before.
have too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. Strawberries are not actually berries.
Dude, feels like a trick question.
They're all
Oh,
trick questions.
di Woo! Gosh, that seems such like that's a trap you just set. Wow.
If it makes
I'm
you feel
gonna
any better, I don't really ever know the answers to these until I write them down.
th- I'm gonna say true.
It's true.
Okay.
Yes, they are called false fruits with several individual fruits that make it up.
That's kind of mean to call them a false fruit. You know what I mean? Like
Like a, it's like a
who said
faux
who la
berry.
yeah, who labeled that? Because honestly, they're one of my favorite fruits, and
They
it's like
actually might
now
too.
now I have every time I eat a strawberry, I'm gonna be like, well, you're kind of a false fruit. Like it's just kind of a little bit mean to the strawberry race, I think, honestly. I think we
You
might need
know,
to work on that.
it made me think of that scene in Elf when he's like, "You're not Santa." I picture
Yeah.
you like eating the strawberry, and be like, "You're not a
Not a
strawberry.
strawberry. Yes,
You're not a
absolutely.
berry."
Gosh, if I could just get that line in a movie someday, that would be just
Please, please. You're
Oh,
not a berry, and throw it. That'd be great.
right, right, right.
The tradition of dyeing Easter eggs started in France. This is an
Being part
interesting one.
Yeah, being part French, I could see it. I mean, very artistic over there. I feel like that could happen anywhere, but just because of the question, I'll go with true, but I'm not sure.
It's false.
Okay.
The tradition started in, can you take a guess?
Uh, I could see it being like Spain or Italy.
It's actually Ukraine. Isn't that
Ukraine, yeah, I would
crazy?
not have guessed
I
that. I
would
would not have guessed that.
I would not have thought that would be something
Why
that they
why did
enjoy.
they like yeah, seriously, why did they start like just being like I feel like we should just start dyeing these things. Like why not, like
I don't
different
I
colors,
don't
let's
like
hide
this
them
color.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. I might have to like
Interesting.
look that up after
Yeah.
this interview and be
Me
like,
too.
what is the I know. These are great. I like this. This is
Yes,
fun.
I know. They're so fun. Okay, an average human, I don't know why this makes me laugh. An average human head weighs about 20 pounds.
That feels right. There's a lot of junk up there. Yeah, I'm gonna say true to that.
It's false.
Really? Mine
It
is though.
I think
It's
some
true
probably
for
are.
me. I'm an Italian, so this is like an extra layer of skull. Very hard-headed, you know? So,
I do think it is true for some people. I've seen
yeah,
some rather large heads.
big heads. What is the average
It's
though?
11 pounds for the
Oh,
average.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
There are five bones in the human ear. Are you counting them right now?
I thought it was all cartilage though. I'm gonna say false.
It is false, but there is three bones in the ear. Coca-Cola was the first soft drink in the United States.
Oh man, why do I feel like Pepsi came out first? Oof. I'm gonna say false.
It is false, but it's not Pepsi.
It's RC Cola?
No,
No.
it was Dr. Pepper.
Oh, wow. The doctor
Yeah,
came
the
first. Okay,
doctor
well,
came
again,
first.
doctors. We're back to doctors again.
Last one.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting one. President Thomas Jefferson brought the recipe for macaroni and cheese to the US from England.
Man. Uh, sure. Yeah, true. Maybe.
So it's kind of true. It's false. He
Okay.
did bring the recipe, but he didn't bring it from England.
Oh.
He brought it from France. Isn't that
Okay.
crazy? I didn't know that's how we got mac and
Nice.
cheese.
Well, thank you,
Yeah,
France.
yes. That's like
Appreciate
my
you.
absolute favorite dish of all time.
Yep. Yep. My wife is mac and cheese anyway, anytime. Really,
Yep.
it's all meal. We call it all meal.
Yeah,
It can be eaten at any time. You can even do
absolutely.
breakfast.
You
Yeah,
can.
mac and cheese is yeah, it's the
Thank you,
best.
Thomas Jefferson. You
Thank you,
rock.
TJ.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, dude. He can hear me, right?
I'm sure. I'm
Okay.
sure you can. All right, Matt, that was fun. Well,
Okay.
so I kind of discussed it. I meant to say this earlier that actually people watching you may remember when I had Jonathan Stoddard on the show a couple weeks ago, who had a movie coming out on Great American Family, and that is how I met Matt, was through that interview. And so Matt and Jonathan have a movie coming out this Friday, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But since he hasn't been on the show before, we're going to let him share his background so that way people at home can kind of get to know you a little bit. So just go ahead and share your background. At what moment did you know you wanted to be an actor? Was this something always that you wanted to do?
Yeah, no, it definitely always something I felt in myself. As a kid, I could remember, just wanting to like create stories and characters, and didn't need massive amounts of toys or things to make that happen. It was just like creating in my own mind. So I felt like I always had it inside me. I was very fortunate to have family from New York City, primarily my grandmother, who would take me to Broadway shows, and she took me to the Winter Garden to see Cats. And I will say, for a 4-year-old, being on the Winter Garden stage, because you could actually sit on the stage,
Wow.
the cats would interact with you. And as a 4-year-old, like being basically part of the show, at one point, like one of the cats like came up and like tied my shoelaces together. At one point, like one of the cats like growled at me and I growled back, and the cat just went, and like scurried off. So like it really like I felt in that moment like I like belonged in that world. And it felt like something that like really inspired me. And it was just I knew I needed to get back to New York. And so when I graduated high school in Virginia, I went back to New York City. I lived with my grandma. She was my roommate. It was wonderful,
Oh,
and
that's so
I
sweet.
got yeah. So I'm definitely a grandma's boy, and we'd go to the opera together. We'd go to museums together. I mean, it was very like I've always like been very uh driven on my goals. And so like in college, like my grandma said, like don't even get a job, like go after what you want, like this is your time. And so like I would take those times to like go to Actors Equity, which is the Broadway union, and sing my 16 bars for Phantom of the Opera or Les Mis or something like that, and just constantly be honing in my craft with some really great teachers out of college because I went to Marymount Manhattan College, but I studied with like Terry Schreiber, who, is just like a grandfather figure in my life. He is an acting teacher that really is just kind of like wholesome and genuine and really loves his actors. So I studied with him in his class for about 2.5 years. And, just some really great teachers in the musical theater world too, that I got to study with and just took it all in because I just felt like that's kind of where I belonged. And then, a couple years passed. I decided to get more into TV and film, and that's when I moved out to LA, and I've been out here ever since pursuing the dream out here.
That's so awesome. And so you have a movie coming out this Friday, January 10th, called Somewhere in Montana. And can you tell us a little bit about that movie and what it's about and how that came about?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a story of the times. I'm really excited, really for people to see it. It's a conversation starter, and I really got into acting and art for moments like this in my life, and this feels like really the biggest one in my artistic journey because we need films like this right now. This is a film about two polarities between me playing a West Coast director and John Alexander, played by my friend Graham McTavish, and it was his birthday the other day. So
Aw,
shout out to Graham. He's in Morocco, and actually, I found out that my cousin was in Morocco at the same time. I'm like, if you see a
crazy.
kid that looks like me on the beach, like it's probably my cousin John. Right? So it's just like a very small world, but. Graham I mean this like in the best way. A lot of people say this, like he is a true friend, a true pro. You never know, because you're really only together for a matter of a couple weeks. We just had these long conversations, would go to meals together, and we just really wanted to tell this very delicate conversation as realistically and as authentically and organically as we could. And we have a 10-page scene together, and it just explores like where we're at as a society right now, how we tend to not see each other in our full totality, and then we find ways to either cancel each other or create this dissonance where maybe if we just tried both sides to let each other in a little bit more, there would be a mutual understanding and mutual respect, and that means that you don't have to agree with everything,
Hmm.
and frankly, you never will, and that's okay. But we're trying to have films like this exist in the world because I think you can see when there are two people that would never be in the same space together. And again, we're put in this space because I need his ranch to make my movie, and he needs the money from the movie to keep his ranch alive. So we need each other, but there is just this automatic dissonance that, any person listening to this podcast would understand. It's just like we don't belong in the same world. And so I'm coming into his world. I'm thrust upon his world. For me as an actor, it was an extraordinary experience because I got to understand Montana and take all of that in while I was giving it back to the film. And that for me was just an incredible artistic experience for me. I tell people this all the time. Like, I feel like I've already won just being a part of this film because it's something that I've always dreamed of being. I realized early on, and this is something I can speak to as an actor, that sometimes you don't realize why you booked the part, right? Or you got the part. Um, I feel like I learned more and more why I was destined to kind of play this part because I am very legacy focused in my own life, and so is Fabian in his, and it's the fight, the need to bring people together to tell great stories. And this story for me has resonated to such a core of me as Matt that now I have my own production company and I'm working with my wife to bring stories like this to different pockets of the country, and we're working on our first feature film together. So I tell Brandon Smith this all the time. He gave me this extraordinary gift, not just in the quote unquote booking, which is kind of like the label of, getting the role, but the role for me like really resonated with my life. It gave me something that I felt like I needed, and I took it and I ran with it, and now I'm just really excited for people to share this movie, to understand like, that there is more that can really bring us together than could ever divide us, but we have to let each other in. And I think Graham and I did a really wonderful job with Brandon's help, in writing this beautiful story to just say, listen, let's just try to have those conversations. Like if we can let each other in, like maybe there is a path forward for us in our society. And I think that's what we all want right now. So I think
Hmm.
films like this can really start to paint the picture of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because if Fabian and John can do that in this movie, maybe there's hope for all of us.
Yeah. I watched the trailer and I was like, holy cow, you have a lot of emotion in this one. You're just like
Yeah.
throwing things, and you did a great job just even in the trailer that I saw.
Thank you.
What
And I will say, I mean, that was like a calculated choice on my part. Like my
really?
character, yeah, it was a really tough. I actually haven't really spoken about this on a podcast, so I'm glad that you said that. Um, I really struggled with being too big on screen. I am a theater actor, but Fabian is a larger than life character too. The reality is when I worked with my acting teacher, everything, and he would tell me, felt grounded even if it was big. And the reason why I felt like it worked was because of Graham, because he is the opposite of that. He's very stoic.
Hmm.
So I felt like it was automatic dissonance between our two characters in the two different energies not matching. And what I did really, really try to do by the end of the film, when everybody gets there, is for me to come down a little bit and for him maybe to come up a little bit,
Hmm.
because you can feel like at by the end of the movie like our energies match a little bit more. And still I am obviously this character, this person, and he's very much this person, and we are two different people. But I definitely think you tapped into that, and that was a really great point, is that I really felt like for me it was important to be big and proud of that, because I was channeling a lot of people that I know and love in my own life, and I wanted to do justice to them. And I've gotten some really good feedback from that, and that means a lot because it's a risk to be big. And I just felt like for this story, I'm the outsider and I'm the one that's quote unquote different from everybody else. And I felt like my best way to go about that was to be organic and true to myself and how I would like to tell the character in the story, but also understand that like, the best way that I could do it for that dissonance was to be on one level and hopefully get to the point where like our energies matched. And that's kind of
Hmm.
where I felt like the character grew from when I was working on it.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like if you can watch a trailer and just the trailer alone and be like, oh, that's good, then that's pretty good. So, I mean, you two together, even just seeing the chemistry in the trailer, like you said, he was very stoic and very calm
Yeah.
and seemed perfect for the role that he was playing.
Yes.
And you were the complete opposite and very big, but it fit that character well.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to see it. I do plan to go see it. So,
Yay.
you at home, make sure you go see it. It's out January 10th in theaters. But what was the most challenging thing? Would you say that was one of the most challenging things for you as an actor in this movie is balancing like being too big or not being too big, or were there other challenges in this film?
I think what I learned actually from this film is that being too big is sort of it, it's sort of a label, right? Because the reality is if you are feeling the things, like I mean, like you can see like I'm an animated person in real life. Like I talk with my hands. I'm an Italian. I can't help it. Like so there is a lot of this that is me. My acting teacher got to the point where he said like forget the name Fabian, just be Matt. And a lot
Oh.
of like this character is me and it is heightened and it's not completely me, but I brought all of myself to it. I think when we think about being too big, we think about being false. And everything that I worked on was really being felt to a deep level. Like I fell in love with this character.
Mhm.
And I've never really said that before about any other character. Like I truly felt for him on a deep level. And so I'm even tearing up about it right now because I feel like because I felt him on such a deep level, my feelings were big. And that's okay because I was feeling them honestly and
Mhm.
truthfully and organically and authentically. And yes, it is still a risk because, you know, maybe you're doing more, but I just feel like it really worked for the story. I don't think that two stoic characters in this piece would have had as much of a dynamic nature
Mm-mm.
as one person that is clearly a Hollywood guy, is clearly, you know, eccentric and proud of it. And then another person that's like working day to day on his ranch and that like that's his legacy. And when we really go into why the story is powerful is that both of us have legacies. John has his legacy with the ranch and that is a beautiful legacy. I mean, I met people up there that like have had, you know, ranches in their families for 2 and 3 generations. That is a legacy. Making a film is a legacy. You know, everybody like has a right to, you know, go after their legacies and have that inspire them daily because we only get so much time on this planet, right? So it's like
Mhm.
if you can embrace somebody else's legacy and find out what that is for them, like and be a part of that, like you've got a connection. Like maybe you've got a friend. And I feel like a lot of this film really surprises people by the end, by the nature of where we start and where we end. But I think a lot of that is that you know, that dissonance and that work that we did together with Graham and I in terms of just trying to make it as authentic as possible. And I think we both really delved into how each of us could do that and really feel it the right way and tell the story the best that we knew how.
That's awesome. So you got to film in Montana. Did you get to do anything fun in Montana? What was the best thing that you got to do while you were in there? Because Montana is just absolutely gorgeous. I love it.
We did so much together, Carrie, and I gotta be honest, like it's the closest cast. Like people say this all the time. Like we became a family. Like it was
Aw.
like John, Michelle, like the Eden, like John, like we'd go on hikes together. You know, we'd go to dinners together. You know, Graham and I would get our bison steaks at the lodge there. You know, we'd go to breakfast together at Betty's Diner. We were together all the time.
Aw.
And most of us did stay at the really awesome Quataknook Resort there that, so we were all very close and we didn't really want to be away from each other. That was the thing. I think really early on, like we knew that we were all telling a story that was bigger than all of us. And so I felt like us being together collectively all the time, and that includes the crew, by the way. The crew,
Mhm.
like the crew and the actors were interchangeable. We were all part of that same family. Like I can't say enough about the crew. I mean, I always say like crews, like the crew is what makes films great. Like like our crew specifically, like act absolutely sacrificed. And I mean, a lot of times, like those are the people that make, the stories flourish and
Yeah.
thrive. And so many of them are my friends now, and I was buying them drinks at the wrap party, and it's just I'm so in love with the collaborative process of film, but especially when you have like a group like we had, and again, relationships that have surpassed the film, like Stoddard and I. It's like
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, those are gifts. Those are the real gifts. it's people that matter more than anything else in life, not things. It's people, and that's actually
Mhm.
a line from the movie.
Oh, got a little inside scoop there. I
That's
like
right. That's right.
it.
Yep, yep.
I could totally see you and Stoddard just being two peas in a pot. So,
100%.
um,
100%.
I mean this when I say I have to have you both on the show at the same time. So,
Let's do it.
so we're
Let's
gonna
do it.
make
You might need to make that a double episode, just so you're aware.
like maybe like a mini series,
There you go. We're
like
game. We'll
I
do
think
it. Let's
I
do
think
it.
it'd probably be the best hit of the show. So,
I'm ready anytime. Let's make it happen.
oh, awesome. Well, can you tell viewers at home why you think that they should go see Somewhere in Montana?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, story of the times. We know that
Hmm.
we are in a society of probably the most dissonance that we've ever seen, and this story speaks to it. And it speaks to it truthfully.
Yeah.
It's not a Hollywood ending. And that's something that like
Oh,
I hope
okay.
will hook people in a little bit, is that like it's just real. It's just organic. We really fought to make this not feel um too much either way. Like just really straight down the like we're just reading words from a page, right? And I just feel like there's so many wonderful performances that resonate on the screen because of the people behind the camera, and this you can feel that from the story. So, story of the times. This is an indie, so we get on podcasts like this, so you can tell two of your friends to tell two of your friends, because again, there's a business side of this, and the marketing budget isn't 50 to $100 million,
Hmm.
right? So it's really important to share the story of Somewhere in Montana for people to see it. And my hope honestly is, and it always has been as an actor, that stories like this can help inspire, change, even make people question something maybe in their own lives that they could do better. That is why art is powerful. And, we call it the resistance in many ways, but it's the resistance to a lot of times like just affecting change in the world, and positivity. Most of the actors that I know are literally some of the most selfless people I've ever met in my life, because they just really love to give the gift of stories to people, and that's why I got into it, and that's why I really hope people will watch this film, and it'll bring them a lot of joy, and yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it. So make sure you all at home go see Somewhere in Montana this Saturday, January 10th, out in theaters. Matt, thanks so much for being on the show today. I would love to have you back. I know you have lots of things going on that we could talk about for hours.
I can tell we
So
would talk for hours.
we
Absolutely.
could. So we will see Matt again on the show. But thank you so much for being on today and chatting with me. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you, Carrie. This has been amazing. I appreciate it.
Yes. And thank you all for watching at home. And just remember, until next time, to carry on.